Alright guys, so this is actually a really important video, so if you're interested in really listening about anything regarding DLC 5 for Black Ops 3 Zombies, DLC 4 as a whole, what we're gonna see in terms of remastered zombie maps like side DLC packs, we're gonna clarify DLC 5 and what I probably mean by DLC 5, and we're also gonna talk about, again, in the title, which should be around like DLC 4 is Resurrection 2.0 potentially, or, you know, potentially that's gonna be it, where maybe we have some sort of thing where we have the zombie maps, and again, I'm not saying it's confirmed, obviously nothing's confirmed yet, but there's a lot of interesting evidence now from an in-game update for Black Ops 3 that we're going to be covering as well. And we're also going to look at, obviously, from my last video, again, which was, you know, did Jason Blundell hint to DLC 5? A lot of people made some really insane points as to why it's possible, as to why it's not possible, and the video did get a lot of positive traction. It did get a fair amount of negative traction as well, because anytime you talk about DLC 5, it is controversial. It's just like, okay, you know what, DLC 5, are you kidding me? You're retarded. We've been talking about this since Black Ops 2, and I do understand that. I'm not just saying here like, oh, DLC 5 is gonna happen, but I do have to clarify what I exactly mean by DLC 5, because I don't really mean DLC 5 as its own map hack itself. I just mean as a fifth sort of cycle of DLC maps. I'll talk about what I mean in a second. I'll talk about how that will be implemented into Black Ops 3 Zombies. If it's the case, we do have the evidence. We'll cover the evidence. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to COD Zombies HQ, because I sort of have a part of his title there with the DLC 4 is Resurrection 2.0 thing. Just wanted to give him credit. He actually has a pretty cool channel, so definitely check him out. His link is in the description. And yeah, so if we can hit 200 likes for this video, that would be greatly appreciated. Just, you know, if you guys are interested in liking the video for just the hype of remastered maps, so we're really going to be focused on remastered maps this video, because that is a huge part of Zombies. Is what we've been asking for forever. So if you can leave a like for that, that'll be greatly appreciated. And let's get started. So I'm gonna start off here with the resurrection side of things. Now, this is what we saw within Black Ops 3, and I'm going to leave a link to the Reddit post in which the person actually pointed this out, because if you look at this here, this was the sort of lobby leaderboard main menu combat record thing. You guys know, you go here, you click on the map, you check out like the rounds, the leaderboards, all that insane stuff. And you see the order it's in. Okay, you have the Giant, you have Shadows of Evil, Horizon Rock, and Satsuma no Shima, and then on the bottom there, the bottom left, you have Garage Krovi. It's a weird placement. And if you think about when they add DLC 4, it'll just be 4 on the top, 2 on the bottom. It just doesn't really make sense. Now, this is actually a new update, which is really weird, because they actually put all the maps on the top. So we have the Giant, Shadows of Evil, Horizon Rock, Satsuma no Shima, and Garage Krovi all on the top. And then you have the whole slot on the bottom empty, and these are the actual fill-ins that the person on Reddit put, because it makes a lot of sense. Why would they put all the maps on the top when DLC 4 is just going to be the one map on the bottom? It doesn't make sense. Why would you put all the maps on the top, and then you just have DLC 4 standing there? If you look at the slots here, it fits perfectly for DLC 4 to be there, and then 4 other bonus maps actually be in the same exact spot for the huge sort of like rectangle of map sphere, or it's not a sphere, but you know what I'm saying, like the rectangle map shape. Like, why would they do that? Why would they put Garage Krovi to the top to only have DLC 4 on the bottom as a standalone map? You know, it doesn't make sense. Obviously, they're gonna fill in those things, and it just so happens that those fill-ins are the 4 potential remaster maps that we would see a part of Resurrection 2.0. And I looked at the Reddit post. Everyone, I want you guys to actually go to that Reddit post, because everyone's been talking about it. Everyone's actually pretty hyped. They're like, you know what? This is actually some sort of evidence. I'm looking at all these comments, man, and people are really saying, you know what? This could actually be something. And I know we've talked about this time and time again. I know it's probably just not possible. And this is the just certain side of things. They've debunked it time and time again. We've said before, you know, multiplayer maps will be in DLC 4. It says it on the season pass. It says it there. We're gonna get multiplayer maps, just like we've been doing forever, really. Black Ops 2, we saw that as well. We thought there was going to be DLC 5. We thought there was going to be Resurrection as well. It was just multiplayer, and obviously one Zombies map, which was Origins back then. But this time, it could be very different. So this stems back to DLC 5 as well, because DLC 5, like I said, when I talk about DLC 5, I don't necessarily mean like, oh, an all-new DLC map pack with its own name, like Descent or something, and it's going to be a part of the Season Pass, and it's going to release whenever, November, or whenever you want to do it. And I know people have been saying it's going to, you know, interfere with Infinite Warfare and all that insane stuff, and I have reasons for that after, too. But that's not what I mean. I don't mean it's going to be a part of the Season Pass. It's definitely not going to be a part of the Season Pass. I mean, I just don't see that happening. And also, what I mean by DLC 5 is just sort of a fifth generation of these zombie maps coming to the game, whether or not it's like a side download, so it's just like all of a sudden you load up zombies and you have a couple maps in the store, and it's like, okay, download these maps. Maybe they're part of the season pass, maybe they're not. I'm not so sure if they're gonna do that. I just don't know how, because like, again, this has never been done before, but just by the look of that menu, it's very possible. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily need to be a DLC pack where it's like advertised as one. You have the things like DLC 5, whatever the name is, Vengeance, which was DLC 3 for Black Ops 2, but Vengeance coming soon with all these new maps. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be that. DLC 5 could just very well be a couple of side downloadable maps that you see in the store menu of Black Ops 3, and that could be considered the DLC 5 map pack. Well, because we're not really map pack, but DLC 5, because it's downloadable content, and it's the fifth cycle of downloadable content. You know, downloadable content is really anything within Black Ops 3. You can consider, you know, different supply drops DLC, or the weapons, or the calling cards or skins, or like the veteran calling card, whatever they had. That's all DLC. So the DLC doesn't necessarily need to be like an actual map pack. The only thing that maybe a lot of people were wrong, maybe that I was wrong, is that we would see a fifth new map for DLC 5. Maybe that's the only thing that I was wrong, but I mean, obviously, you know, it's a lot of stuff we need to talk about, but maybe we're definitely not going to see a fifth new map. I doubt we're going to see any new maps coming after DLC 4. But remaster maps, that's a different story. And again, if you look back at the image there, you have room for DLC 4 and then 4 remastered maps. So that makes a lot more sense. I'm probably going to stop actually titling it as DLC 5 because it doesn't really make sense. Obviously, DLC 5 is just not probable, and we'll talk about all of that within this video as well. But it does make more sense for them to have these 4 side remaster maps along with DLC 4. Doesn't need to be in DLC 4, doesn't need to be Resurrection 2.0, but you have DLC 4, you have the last map pack, you have 1 zombies map, 4 multiplayer maps, and then also maybe a couple of weeks later, or like 2 weeks later or something, or maybe around the same time, you also have the option to maybe buy individual remaster maps for a couple bucks each, and you have 4 in total, or you get season pass and you have like this little bonus thing where you can get all of them at one time, and then maybe eventually, just like they did with the Giant, they'll sell it to everyone for a couple bucks each, because the Giant was $5, and it was originally only for the season pass, but now it's, you know, you can buy it for $5, and whoever needs it, whoever doesn't have the season pass, so it could be like that. But again, that's basically what we've been seeing regarding remaster maps for Black Ops 3 Zombies, which we formerly called DLC 5, but now it's just gonna be probably remastered maps in general, you know, side DLC content, which is still sort of DLC 5, but not really like a DLC 5 map pack that we've been talking about. More just like side, small little maps, and that's it, you know? So here is something else as well. People have been saying that the whole remaster maps in general, this was some interesting stuff. It wouldn't fit with the older maps. I saw some stuff where it was like the flow wouldn't fit with the older map. I don't necessarily agree. I don't think the flow is really that different from, you know, between Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 3. Obviously, maybe the zombie AI movement, they're maybe improved, they're just different in general, their paths are sort of different, but you align that with each zombies map. You know, they just take the map, they remaster it, and then they just make sure the spawns fit with the new game. I don't think it's going to be that much different. Like, think about the Giant. They took the Giant from Black Ops 1 World at War. They took Jeriz, obviously, they brought it over as the Giant within Black Ops 3. And you see there, it plays pretty much exactly the same. Obviously, maybe there are some slight differences, but it plays pretty much the exact same. There's nothing much they need to do, so I don't think the flow really matters. It's all the same game. It's the same server. It's the same code. It's Treyarch. It's the same models. Like, it's really not that different, honestly. So I think they wouldn't have a problem with the flow, and putting, let's say, a Mob of the Dead into Black Ops 3, it would definitely play pretty similarly. There's nothing they can really mess up to make it that different, especially with the zombie spawns. Everything else would make sense, but maybe the zombie spawns would be the only thing maybe slightly different, but I even think that would be just perfect. And also, people have been saying, because I talked about this within the last video, I said, like, okay, the Jason Blundell interview, basically, he was finished with DLC 4, but what people were mistaking was that they weren't finished with all the other DLC maps as they were making them. Like, DLC 3, when they were making DLC 3, they finished DLC 3 only a week before DLC 3 released, you know? They only finished DLC 3 right before the map pack actually released. The difference is DLC 4 has already been done. So people thought like all of the DLC maps were already done a while ago. That's not the case, because they had leaks. I made videos about DLC 3 being in audio testing, being done. I think Nolan North, actually, the voice actor of Richtofen, he was at a Comic-Con convention, and he basically talked about, yes, DLC 3 is done. They're finishing up. They're doing bug testing, and they just finished the audio for the Easter egg for the map and all that insane stuff. So they were still working on DLC 3. They were still finishing up DLC 3, but DLC 4. They're already done. They already did DLC 4 probably a couple of years ago, maybe a year and a half ago or something. So that's the difference there. So people already thought, you know what, they're just going to move on to the new map. That's what they did in Exo Zombies. That's what they did all the time. They're just going to move on to the new game, because obviously they have to start with basically Black Ops 4 now. And they also said, here are probably the two main things here that people were saying. So since they were done DLC 4, and since they basically have all this time, and I was making the point, like, oh, you know what, they have all this time, now is the chance for them to maybe do this DLC 5 pack, and now we're not really talking about that, obviously more of the remastered zombie maps, so they have the time now. They're finished with all the DLCs. Obviously DLC 4 they already did, they just need to do DLC 3, and that's it. And this is what people said. They said, okay, well, you know, they have to do mod tools, and they have to do comics. And those are two very good points. Now comics I want to debunk there, sort of, because when you think about the Zombies development team, the whole Zombies development team, and you think about Treyarch in general, when they do a comic licensing deal and they do a comic book with these different comic book companies or whatever, it's not the whole studio working on comic books. Because you think about it, like if a game developer and a software engineer is working on, let's say, DLC 4, and he's done with DLC 4, he has nothing to do with comics. He has no job. He has no place in being with comics. In comics, you're not gonna software engineer, you're not gonna game design, you're not gonna animate. It's a comic book. So all those people, all those animators, all those software engineers, all those guys making the actual game that you play on PS4 or whatever, they have no job. They have nothing to do with comics. So comics is just a completely separate side of Treyarch, and it's a completely separate sort of division of Treyarch that they're focusing on, like different like sort of drawing artists and storyline board people and stuff like that. They're working on comics and whatever company they're working with, but the actual game designers and the actual whole development team, the dev team, they have nothing to do with comics. Now here's the thing with mod tools. Mod tools, it's a bit possible that they could be spending this time working on mod tools, maybe fine-tuning it, but if you think about it, they're not necessarily like the most part of the actual mods are in the hands of the actual modders. Treyarch's job isn't obviously to make the modded maps, they're just providing the users, the modders, with the mod tools. So all they need to do is just provide them with the mod tools and provide them with newer updates and all that insane stuff, and that's really it. And they've been doing that already, even with the DLC cycle. So although I do think it's very possible that, you know, they could be spending all this time working on mod tools and stuff, it doesn't make sense that whole time is really just for giving modders the mods. Like everything you need for modding is within Black Ops 3. They just need the tools for it. The modders and the people making these custom maps, they just need the tools for it. And Treyarch, they just need to give them and update the tools. It's not really that much work. And I'm not one to say like, oh, that's gonna take a lot of work, because I have no clue how much work it takes. So maybe that's why they're taking all this time, and maybe that's why they finished DLC 4 early. But again, just don't think that's the whole cycle of it. I do think it's very possible, now coming off of this thing here in the menu of Black Ops 3 within the Zombies map, that they could be doing also fine-tuning mod tools. But think about it again. These developers, these dev team guys, these game designers, they're still working. So either they can be already moving on to Black Ops 4, or they could be making remastered maps, which again, in a lot of people's eyes, just doesn't really take much besides bringing the map over, reskinning it a bit, and just making sure there are no glitches. Like, that's honestly it. And that takes no time. And again, people have been saying, I'm not so sure what the development cycle of the Giant was, but the Giant, I've heard, took absolutely no time. They weren't even planning on doing the Giant. They were just like, okay, let's just throw in the Giant, let's just do this. All we need to do is take the whole model of Deriz. They didn't need to develop anything. They just need to change the actual skin of it, change the actual animations of the snow, and make sure everything works well with Black Ops 3, make sure everything is good, and then that's it. Put it out, you know? There's nothing much you really need to do. And again, if they brought these maps back, it wouldn't take that much time. So that's why I'm thinking it's very possible that they could be doing mod tools. and also the remaster maps as well. It's not that much effort. Again, I'm not one to say it's that much effort, but I think as a community, it just seems as if that it really wouldn't take that much to make those 4 remastered maps and bring them to us as side DLC, a part of the season pass, not a part of the season pass, a part of DLC 4, not a part of DLC 4, doesn't really matter. But that's basically the stuff with remaster maps, the whole DLC 5, DLC 4 Resurrection discussion there, and that's really it. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think about this. The final sort of consensus of this video is that obviously we're not seeing DLC 5, but DLC 5 basically is going to be in the form of just 4 remaster maps that they would possibly do, because of it's just easier to do it. It just makes sense. The Black Ops 3 update's a huge indicator of that as well, and all of that insane stuff. So I don't know, again, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Leave a comment below. If you're watching right now, type in the chat. You know what, type in the chat, type in the comment section. I think I'm live streaming right now. Oh, I forgot to actually say what's your favorite zombies map. What maps do you want within the dance? That was something I was gonna do. Okay, well, I guess if you're watching right now, leave a comment below what zombies map you want within, I'm gonna say DLC 5, but what zombies map you want for the 4 remastered map slots that we have on screen. And if you're watching right now at the end of this video, leave a comment below, let's see, Resurrection? But I don't want you to ask like write too much. Just leave a comment R, okay? Just leave the little letter R for Resurrection, and yeah. I want to see all the accounts that are watching the whole video. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.